Next live session will be on June 10th, so that's next Monday. We'll see you guys again there. And always want to thank the Light of Day Foundation for their generous support in the Parkinson's mission. You can learn more about what the Parkinson's Foundation offers virtually through our PD Health at Home programming. You found us at Mindfulness Mondays. We host Wellness Wednesdays and our Fitness Fridays. This month, I'll be featured in our Fitness Fridays doing some yoga for Parkinson's. So if you would like to join me in some gentle movement, that's all the Fridays this beautiful month of June. We'll see you guys there. And this Wellness Wednesday, we are featuring a special topic on psychosis. So this was a topic that our helpline gets a lot of inquiries on and asked the community engagement department to bring some awareness to how to recognize and respond to Parkinson's psychosis. So not everyone with Parkinson's will experience a psychosis, but it can be frightening if you don't know what's happening or how to handle it. And it's important to be able to recognize these symptoms if they occur. So in this week's webinar, we'll learn what to watch for and know how to respond to these behavior changes to ensure the safety and well-being for you and for your loved one with Parkinson's. We'll also have a specialist who can give us some tips on how to communicate with EMS, emergency medical services, what to say, what not to say, and how their support, how you communicate can support in the needs that you and your loved one are requiring at that time. So you can learn more at our website, parkinson.org/pdhealth. And Nico's joining us today. Nico, so glad to see you. So glad that you're here. I'll pass it on to you to facilitate our session. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. It's so lovely to be back here with all of you. And I think, we're going to talk about discomfort today and how to work with pain in the body. I want to start with a story. So years ago, I was getting my PhD in counseling psychology, and one of my placements was that I worked at a prison. And one of my favorite things about working with the prison was in addition to doing individual counseling with people and doing group counseling with people, they found out that I had a background in mindfulness, and they started to send me into all of these different units to work one-on-one with people who were interested in learning about mindfulness. And so one day I showed up at a whole new unit. I'd never been there before. I never met this person before. And this gentleman came into the room. You can imagine sort of grill gates and guards behind the door, and it's a prison. It's kind of an intense place. And this gentleman came into the room, and I could see immediately that something was wrong with his jaw. So there was a big, big scar on the side of his face. And it turned out that he had had his jaw broken while in prison in a fight, and he was waiting for surgery. Right. So it's state run and there's a long list to get in for a surgeon. And so he had a lot of pain in his jaw, and he had a lot of resentment that he was expressing very strongly to me about the fact that he had to wait to get the surgery to reset his jaw. And so I asked him, okay, well, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much pain are you feeling in your jaw right now? And he said, oh, it's a 10. It's a 10. It's off the charts. It's a 10 all the time. And I said to him, okay, well, a 10 would mean like we're wheeling you off on a stretcher to get you to the emergency room. Like that's a 10. And he said, it's a 10. My pain is a 10 all the time. It's torturing me. I can't sleep. I can't chew. I can't do anything. And I said, okay, that's a lot of pain. And I explained to him about mindfulness. We're going to do a mindfulness exercise together. Of course, this is not going to heal your jaw. There's no magic that's going to happen here. And then we dropped in together and we did a little bit of a longer exercise, maybe a 10-minute mindfulness exercise together. And while we were doing this exercise, I watched his whole body relax, and I watched his face relax. And he really dropped in with me into this exercise. At the end, I had him open up his eyes and I said, okay, great. On a scale of 1 to 10, where is your pain now? Usually when we do this, it goes down maybe 2 or 3. usually it's going from a 5 to a 3 or something like that, because something does happen when we practice mindfulness. He looked at me and he said, my pain is at a 4. It went from a 10 to a 4. And I was very surprised. I thought, what is going on here? A 10 to a 4. And then I thought about it. I have no idea actually what happened, but I thought about it and I thought, well, maybe what was happening was that he had so much resistance, so much resentment, and so much tension that actually the physical tension in his body was exacerbating the pain quite a lot. And when we did this mindfulness exercise, he was able to allow the physical pain, and that allowing the physical pain released the tension, and the release of the tension led to less subjective experience of pain. So this is what I want to talk about today. Pain comes in 2 parts, and a lot of what I'm about to say here comes from the Stanford Pain Lab. They divide physical pain into 2 parts. The first part is just the physiological experience. So this gentleman did have a broken jaw. There was something off in his body, and it was sending him a signal something is wrong. So that's part physiological experience. And then there's part 2, which is our interpretation of that signal, right? And how we interpret the signal, the physiological signal, is going to determine to some degree how much pain we feel, because pain is always a subjective experience. And so what we're doing here in mindfulness, we're not going to get rid of pain through mindfulness. We're not going to fix the body through mindfulness. If you have a broken jaw, you have a broken jaw. You're going to need surgery. That is going to actually fix the pain. But what we can do is we can learn to abide with the pain in an allowing kind of way. And through that, we can both experience a little bit less pain, and we can experience quite a bit less reactivity to the pain. So at the very least, our emotional reactions to the pain can go way, way down. Our fear of the pain can go way down. Our fear of the future pain, which is a lot of what's often really difficult, the fear of the future pain can go down and down as we practice mindfulness, until what we experience is simply the raw sensation of this. Okay, this is unpleasant. I myself am lucky enough to have quite a bit of experience with chronic pain. I had a series of injuries when I was in high school. I was a competitive athlete, and I had all these injuries that I never took care of. And so for my whole adult life, I've had neck problems, and I've had shoulder problems, and I had a lower back problem. And I know for myself how helpful it can be to bring a mindful awareness to this chronic pain, both because it drops my resistance to the difficulty so that I feel less emotional turmoil, and it often helps me to know what to do. Like if I can really tune in, I know, oh, what I need to do right now is lie on my back on the floor. Or what I need to do right now is stretch a little bit. Or maybe I need to go for a walk around the block. So mindfulness can also cue us in to what might be needed, what might be a little bit supportive. And so that's what we're going to do today, very simply. We're going to bring awareness, a mindful awareness, a warm attention to some part of the body that is feeling a little bit of discomfort. And what I would invite you to do today is maybe not work with the most painful thing, maybe not work with the most difficult sensation that you're having in your body, because we want to train, right? If you were going to go to the gym for the first time in a long time, you wouldn't try to bench press 100 pounds, right? you would just do a little bit of bench press with a lot of support, maybe from a trainer, because you're just getting used to it. You're just training yourself. And then at some point, when you're really comfortable with the bench press, you can start adding weights. And it's the same with mindfulness of discomfort in the body. At first, we're going to start with something mildly difficult just to learn how to be with it in a mindful way. And then gradually over time, you can add more difficult physical sensations. So I'll invite you to bring a warm awareness to a slightly difficult physical sensation. And then we're going to bring our awareness to another part of the body that feels good, that feels neutral or okay. And we're going to go back and forth. And that's the mindfulness exercise that we'll be doing today together. So, about 10 minutes here. Find a nice, comfortable, supportive posture. Yeah, you could, like where you feel a little bit upright, quite relaxed. You might allow your eyes to close or just gently soften your gaze. And if it's comfortable for you, you might take a couple of deeper breaths. Just feeling the breath as it moves in, feeling the breath as it moves out. And once you've taken your deeper breaths, you could just allow your breath to find a natural rhythm. And you might bring a warm awareness, a kind attention to your body as a whole. It's almost like you're checking the weather. How are things in this human body today, right now? Maybe bringing awareness to different parts of the body. You could feel your legs, your torso, your arms and hands, sweeping through with a kind attention. And then I'll invite you to bring that warm awareness, that kind attention to a part of your body that is feeling neutral or good. Maybe your hands are feeling neutral or good today. Or maybe your knees or your belly, some part of your body, doesn't matter. As long as it's some part of your body that's feeling pretty okay. And really getting curious about that feeling of pretty okay. And what's it feel like? Is there warmth? Is there coolness? Is there tingling? Could be a little numb. Really getting interested in this part of the body that is feeling pretty good, not so bad. And we'll spend just another 30 seconds or so really getting interested in how pretty okay feels. Very good. Now, see if you can find a part of the body that is just experiencing a mild discomfort, not the hardest thing. Maybe staying away from any really sharp pains or overwhelming difficulties. A part of the body that's just mildly discomfort. It could be a little tension in your shoulders or a throbbing in your foot, something you know you can handle. And bring a warmth of attention, a kind awareness to discomfort. This is discomfort. Really getting curious about this discomfort. What's it feel like? Not your idea of it, but the rawness. Is it tingling? Is it throbbing? Is it a little bit tense? Is there a sense of gripping? What's really here in the body? And just for the moment, releasing any thoughts about this discomfort, releasing any judgments, opinions, preferences. What is really here right now? Very good. Now let's go back to a part of the body that's feeling pretty okay. Nothing special. It doesn't have to be a big bliss state, but just some part of the body that's feeling pretty okay. Bring a warm awareness, a kind attention. And how does this feel? Receiving these sensations with a lot of curiosity, openness, friendliness. And then finally back to the whole body. Just letting your warm awareness know the body as a whole. Now you could take another deeper breath if that feels comfortable for you. Let it out. Let the body begin to rock and move. Open your eyes. If it feels good to stretch, you could stretch a little bit or roll your shoulders, whatever is right for you. Yeah, good. Well, it was a delight to see all of these people chatting in from all over the United States and all over the world. And I'd love to hear from you, anybody who has access to a keyboard. Uh, how was that? What happened for you? What did you notice? And we already have one question in the chat that I'm going to answer in a moment, but what did you notice? I like how focus on good helped me forget about the bad and uneasy spots. Right. You really can focus into a part of the body that feels pretty good. That is a potential. There was peacefulness. Mhm. I noticed I was searching for discomfort, trying to create unease that did not exist. Wonderful. If there is a moment of no discomfort, then we get to just hang out in no discomfort and just feel the blessing of that. Oh, a nice moment. Some muscle tension at the site of discomfort. Yeah, absolutely. Feeling of lightness, a better feeling in my back. Yeah. I broke my ribs 10 days ago. So after doing this meditation, it felt so good and calming, right? And that's something that happens with an acute injury is that, of course, the body tenses up around that acute injury. And so meditation can be really helpful for cueing the body that it's okay to relax a little bit, right? The injury's past. We're in the healing process now. A wonderful focus on not focusing on the pain. Yeah, good. I too noticed that the tension in my back is now gone. All right. So a little bit less tension in the back. Good. Yeah, maybe one or two more, and then we'll get into some questions. It's good to hear from all of you. Tremors have reduced. Yeah, that can be a common thing for folks who have Parkinson's. The process of becoming aware of the body and releasing any extra tension. Sometimes the tremors can reduce a little bit, not always, but sometimes. Mhm. Good. So there was one question. Okay, my COVID shot pain is reduced. Oh my gosh. I have the worst reactions to the COVID vaccine, but I always think it's worth it. So yeah, the reduction in the symptoms from getting the COVID shot. That's good. So somebody asked me a question here. We're going to start with this question. And then anybody else who has a question, please type it in. Questions about mindfulness of pain or discomfort. So the question that came in is, how unusual is it to have a constant awareness of one's bodily discomforts? I would say that's very common. So a lot of what happens in meditation is that we become aware of the discomforts that are present for us physically and emotionally and mentally. So people come to meditation, they think I'm going to get really peaceful and calm in meditation, right? That's what meditation is for. It's going to get me immediately peaceful and calm. And then often what happens is that they notice, oh my gosh, my mind is going bonkers, right? Like meditation isn't making me calm. It's like my mind is getting more busy. But in fact, what's happening is not that your mind is getting more busy. What's happening is that you're noticing how busy the mind is normally. And it's similar with physical sensations. You think, okay, I'm coming here to calm the body and it's going to feel good right away. But actually, the first step for a lot of us, and this was very true for me, is I notice how uncomfortable I am in my body. Like, oh my gosh, I wish I could be a lot more comfortable in my body. And part of the process of mindfulness is getting comfortable with discomfort. We can't always get rid of our discomfort, but we can become fairly comfortable with our discomfort. And that's the key. We can live a really beautiful, meaningful, engaged life, even as the body is passing through phases of real discomfort, right? Like pain in the neck, pain in the shoulders. That's my personal experience. Or maybe a little bit of a tremor, or maybe a little bit of, a tingling pain. It's like you can be with this. And that's what the mindfulness training is helping with. I can be with this. This is okay. This is okay. Not pretending it's pleasant. It's actually not pleasant, but it's okay. Yeah, really good question. Any other questions? Yeah, good. So, just to review what we did here today, if you would like to do this at home, uh, we did three things, or maybe four. The first thing we did was just close our eyes and take a couple of deep breaths. You can do that anytime. You don't have to be in some kind of formal meditation practice. You could be in the waiting room at the doctor's office or the dentist, or you could be riding a bus or being a passenger in a car. And you could just close your eyes and take a nice deep breath and let it out. Nobody will even notice that you're doing it. Just that can really help relax you into whatever situation you find yourself in. So that was the first thing we did. Close our eyes for a moment, took a deep breath. Second thing we did was just feel the whole body. Again, that's something you can do anytime. You can do that while you're sitting in your easy chair at home, walking down the hallway, having a conversation with a friend. Just feel the whole body. Third thing we did was we focused in on a pleasant sensation or a neutral or pleasant, something feeling pretty okay. Also, something you could do anytime. You don't have to be in some formal meditation practice to feel a good sensation of pleasant. And then the last one was we felt a mild discomfort and really focused in with a lot of curiosity and warmth. And then we went back to the pleasant. So you don't need to hang out forever in the discomfort. The exercise is to touch into the discomfort for 30 to 60 seconds, maybe. Get really curious, be really friendly, and then go back to something easier. So it's not a not you don't have to be heroic about it. What about stiffness in the morning? Yeah, this is a good question. So stiffness in the morning, depending on what your current situation is with your body, it can be helpful to do little stretches. So you get up in the morning, you might just, if you're able to, you might sit up on the side of your bed and just feel, okay, this is stiffness, right? So just noticing it first. Stiffness is allowed to be here. I don't need to get rid of the stiffness. This is welcome. From that feeling of welcoming and nothing needs to change about this, you might just, roll your head a little bit forward, a little bit back, side to side. Maybe raise your shoulders, let them fall. If you're able, you might do some wrist rolls or elbow rolls, whatever's comfortable with you. Just letting your body tell you what's going to feel good. A lot of mindfulness and a lot of friendliness. So you can experiment with that for stiffness in the morning. Okay, my dear friends, this is the time that we have together today. It's always a delight to be with you. And thank you, Krista, and to the Parkinson's Foundation, and looking forward to being back with you very, very soon. All right.
I appreciate your guidance today and everyone who continues to show up for themselves and for our community. We'll see you guys next Monday. Have a mindful week. Until then, be well.